A mother of 3 children shoots her sleeping husband in the head, loads his lifeless body into a storage container, and buries him in an unmarked grave. Then, she calls the police to report him missing. The shocking confession to her secret lover would unravel a web of lies, betrayal, and a marriage destroyed by hidden affairs. This is the story of Jennifer Madison and the night that changed everything forever. Before we continue deeper, let us know in the comments where you're watching from. We'd love to hear from you. And if you're new here, click on the subscribe button so you never miss any of our upcoming videos. In the quiet suburb of Cottonwood Heights, Utah, Jennifer Madison seemed to have it all. At 41 years old, she was a devoted mother to 3 beautiful children and the wife of Matthew Richardson, a respected 51-year-old Utah National Guard member who served in special operations. To their neighbors, friends, and extended family, they appeared to be living the American dream. Matthew was known for his dedication to his military service and his love for his children. Jennifer was seen as a caring mother who juggled family responsibilities with grace. Their home on a tree-lined street was the picture of suburban perfection, complete with a minivan in the driveway and children's toys scattered across a well-maintained lawn. But beneath this carefully constructed facade, cracks had been forming for months. The couple had filed for divorce in July 2024, though they continued living under the same roof while battling over custody of their children. Friends would later describe tension between them, hushed arguments, and a sense that something fundamental had shifted in their relationship. What no one in their close-knit community could have imagined was that Jennifer was harboring a secret so dangerous it would soon turn their seemingly ordinary suburban life into a scene of unthinkable violence. Throughout the summer of 2024, life in the Richardson household had become increasingly strained. While Matthew continued his duties with the National Guard, Jennifer found herself drawn into conversations with someone outside her marriage. What started as innocent exchanges had gradually evolved into something much more intimate and secretive. The affair began quietly, hidden behind deleted text messages and carefully timed phone calls when Matthew was away on duty. Jennifer had found someone who listened to her complaints about her marriage, someone who made her feel understood in ways she claimed Matthew never had. This confidential relationship became her escape from the mounting pressures of divorce proceedings and custody disputes. Matthew, meanwhile, seemed oblivious to the double life his wife was leading. He focused on his military responsibilities and tried to maintain some normalcy for their 3 children, aged between 5 and 14. Neighbors would see him working in the yard, helping with homework, and maintaining the routines that had defined their family life for years. He had no idea that Jennifer was sharing intimate details of their failing marriage with another person, or that these conversations were beginning to take a much darker turn. The divorce proceedings had become particularly contentious, with both parties fighting fiercely for primary custody of the children. Legal documents would later reveal that Jennifer felt trapped and desperate, believing that Matthew's military background and stable income gave him an unfair advantage in court. As September 2024 approached, Jennifer's behavior began to change in subtle but noticeable ways. She became more secretive with her phone, more irritable with routine family matters, and increasingly distant from Matthew. Their arguments, once limited to private moments, began to escalate in frequency and intensity. Friends and family members would later recall feeling uncomfortable during visits, sensing an underlying tension that seemed ready to explode at any moment. Matthew confided to a close friend that he was concerned about Jennifer's mental state and worried about how the divorce was affecting their children. The weekend of September 20th started like any other. Matthew had returned from National Guard duties and was looking forward to spending time with his children. The family went through their normal weekend routines, but those close to them would later describe an atmosphere of barely contained hostility. Jennifer seemed on edge, checking her phone constantly and avoiding extended conversations with Matthew. Their children, innocent to the full extent of their parents' problems, tried to maintain some sense of normalcy while navigating the obvious tension between their mother and father. On the evening of September 20th, witnesses later reported hearing raised voices coming from the Richardson home. Neighbors, accustomed to occasional arguments during the divorce proceedings, didn't think much of it at the time. What they couldn't have known was that this argument would be Matthew's last. Jennifer had reached a breaking point, and the secret relationship that had been her refuge was about to become the catalyst for an unthinkable act of violence. That night, as Matthew settled into bed, exhausted from another day of trying to hold his family together, Jennifer made a decision that would destroy multiple lives forever. She had been planning, thinking, and perhaps even discussing possibilities with her secret confidant. The man she had been having an affair with would later become the key witness in a murder investigation, though at this point he had no idea what Jennifer was truly capable of. As Matthew fell asleep, trusting that despite their problems he was safe in his own home with the mother of his children, Jennifer retrieved a handgun. The same woman who had once promised to love and protect him was now standing over him with deadly intent. The events of that night would remain Jennifer's secret for exactly 4 days. During that time, she would have to live with what she had done while maintaining the appearance of a concerned wife, whose husband had mysteriously vanished. She would need to clean up evidence, dispose of a body, and then convince everyone around her that she had no idea where Matthew had gone. But secrets, especially ones this devastating, have a way of demanding to be told. And Jennifer had chosen to share her most dangerous secret with the one person she trusted most, her lover, who would soon realize he was speaking to a murderer. Who do you think investigators suspected first when Matthew was reported missing? Would you have noticed the red flags that were becoming increasingly obvious to those closest to the family? But investigators would soon discover something that would change the course of the entire case forever. On September 24, 2024, Jennifer Madison made what appeared to be a desperate call to the Cottonwood Heights Police Department. Her voice trembling with what seemed like genuine concern, she reported that her estranged husband Matthew had been missing for several days. She told officers that she last saw him on September 20th, and that it was completely out of character for him to disappear without contact, especially when it came to their children. The responding officers noted that Jennifer appeared appropriately distressed and cooperative, providing them with Matthew's physical description, his habits, and potential places he might have gone. Initially, the case seemed straightforward, a missing person report involving a man going through a difficult divorce. Police began routine procedures, checking with Matthew's military unit, contacting friends and family members, and reviewing his financial accounts for any unusual activity. The Utah National Guard confirmed that Matthew had not reported for duty and had missed scheduled commitments without explanation, which was highly unusual for someone with his exemplary service record. His bank accounts showed no activity after September 20th, and his cell phone had gone silent. To investigators, it appeared that Matthew Richardson had simply vanished without a trace. But while police were conducting their preliminary investigation, Jennifer was wrestling with the enormous weight of what she had done. The secret she was carrying was consuming her thoughts, affecting her sleep, and making it nearly impossible to maintain the facade of a worried wife. The constant questioning from police, family members, and friends about Matthew's whereabouts was wearing down her ability to keep up the charade. Most importantly, she felt an overwhelming need to confide in someone she trusted, the man she had been having an affair with, who had become her emotional lifeline during the darkest period of her marriage. 4 days after Matthew was reported missing, Jennifer met with her secret lover for what she thought would be a private, intimate conversation. In her mind, this person was the only one who truly understood her situation and would be sympathetic to the impossible circumstances that had led to Matthew's death. What she didn't realize was that she was about to make a confession that would completely unravel her carefully constructed lies and lead directly to her arrest for murder. During their meeting on September 22nd, Jennifer broke down and told her lover everything. She confessed that she had shot Matthew in the head as he slept in their master bedroom. She described how she had waited until he was completely unconscious before retrieving the handgun and standing over him. She admitted that after shooting him, she had loaded his lifeless body into a rooftop storage container, somehow managed to slide it down the stairs, and then transported Matthew's corpse in her family minivan to a location where she buried him in a shallow, unmarked grave. She even showed her lover bruises all over her body, explaining that they were from the physical strain of moving Matthew's body and cleaning up the blood in their bedroom. The man listening to this confession was horrified and immediately realized the magnitude of what Jennifer had just told him. Within days, he contacted the Cottonwood Heights Police Department and agreed to become a confidential informant. His detailed account of Jennifer's confession provided investigators with a completely different perspective on Matthew's disappearance and launched a full murder investigation. Armed with this information, detectives returned to the Richardson home with search warrants and a forensic team. What they discovered validated every detail of the confidential informant's account. Hidden beneath a newly purchased mattress in the master bedroom, investigators found large bloodstains soaked into the carpet. The positioning and pattern of the blood evidence was consistent with someone being shot while lying in bed. Further investigation revealed that Jennifer had purchased the new mattress shortly after Matthew's death, obviously attempting to conceal the physical evidence of the crime scene. Additional evidence began mounting rapidly. Investigators discovered that Jennifer had been researching methods for cleaning up blood evidence online. Her internet search history revealed queries about decomposition, burial techniques, and how to remove bloodstains from carpets and furniture. Cell phone records showed that she had been in contact with her lover throughout the time period when Matthew was killed and his body was disposed of, sometimes exchanging messages within hours of the murder. On October 2, 2024, Jennifer Madison was arrested and charged with first-degree murder. The arrest sent shockwaves through her suburban community, where neighbors struggled to reconcile the image of a devoted mother with the reality of someone capable of executing her sleeping husband. Parents at her children's schools, members of Matthew's National Guard unit, and extended family members were all left grappling with the realization that they had known and trusted someone who was capable of such calculated violence. The arrest also revealed additional layers to the conspiracy. Jennifer's parents were later charged with obstruction of justice for allegedly helping their daughter in the aftermath of the murder. This suggested that Jennifer's secret had spread beyond just her lover, involving other family members in a cover-up that made the crime even more devastating for Matthew's relatives and friends. But what would happen in court would divide everyone who thought they already knew the truth. As Jennifer Madison's case moved toward trial, scheduled for December 2024, prosecutors faced the challenging task of proving murder without Matthew's body. Despite extensive searches involving multiple law enforcement agencies, ground-penetrating radar, and volunteer search teams, Matthew Richardson's remains have never been located. This created a unique legal situation where the prosecution had to build their case entirely on circumstantial evidence, forensic findings, and the testimony of the confidential informant who had become the key witness in the case. During preliminary hearings, prosecutors presented a compelling array of evidence that painted a clear picture of premeditated murder. The blood evidence found beneath the new mattress, Jennifer's suspicious internet searches, her contradictory statements to police, and most importantly, her detailed confession to her lover all combined to create a strong circumstantial case. Prosecutor Emily Paulos argued that Matthew Richardson was not missing. He was murdered by his wife in their own bedroom while he slept, trusting that he was safe in his own home. Jennifer's defense team faced the difficult task of challenging evidence that seemed overwhelming, while their client remained largely silent about the charges. During bail hearings, they argued that the case was built entirely on the testimony of someone who had been intimately involved with Jennifer and might have motivations to lie. However, judges consistently denied bail requests, citing Jennifer as a flight risk and a potential danger to the community, especially to the confidential informant whose testimony was crucial to the prosecution's case. The case took additional tragic turns as it became clear how deeply it had affected the Richardson children. 3 young lives had been permanently altered. Their father was dead and their mother was facing life in prison for his murder. Child Protective Services became involved, and the children were placed with relatives while their mother awaited trial. Friends and family members struggled to provide stability and support for kids who were trying to understand why their family had been destroyed in such a devastating way. Matthew's military colleagues and friends organized memorial services and support funds for his children, even without his body to properly lay to rest. His fellow National Guard members described him as a dedicated soldier and father who never spoke negatively about Jennifer, despite their marital problems. They expressed complete shock that someone he had loved and trusted could have taken his life in such a calculated and violent manner. The broader community of Cottonwood Heights also grappled with the implications of having such violence occur in their quiet suburban neighborhood. Parents questioned their ability to truly know their neighbors, and the case sparked conversations about domestic violence, the hidden pressures of divorce proceedings, and the dangerous potential of extramarital affairs to escalate into violence. As Jennifer's trial date approached, legal experts debated whether the prosecution's evidence would be sufficient to secure a conviction without Matthew's body. The case highlighted the challenges of prosecuting murders where physical remains have been successfully hidden, requiring juries to rely on forensic evidence, digital trails, and witness testimony to establish guilt beyond a reasonable doubt. Do you think justice was truly served in a case where the victim's body was never found? Could this tragedy have been prevented if friends and family had recognized the warning signs of Jennifer's deteriorating mental state and her increasingly desperate situation? How do you think Matthew's children will be able to process the reality that their mother killed their father and then lied about it for days while pretending to search for him? The Jennifer Madison case serves as a stark reminder that the most dangerous violence often occurs between people who once promised to love and protect each other. It illustrates how secrets, lies, and extramarital relationships can create circumstances where desperate people make choices that destroy multiple lives forever. The story of Jennifer Madison and Matthew Richardson forces us to confront uncomfortable truths about the hidden darkness that can exist behind suburban facades and seemingly normal family lives. A mother of 3 children made a conscious decision to murder her sleeping husband and then spend days lying to police, family members, and friends while his body decomposed in an unmarked grave. The calculating nature of her actions, purchasing a new mattress to hide blood evidence, researching cleanup methods online, and maintaining the pretense of a worried wife, reveals a level of deception that most of us struggle to comprehend. What makes this case particularly haunting is how ordinary Jennifer and Matthew appeared to everyone around them. They were dealing with the same marital problems and divorce proceedings that affect thousands of families every year. Jennifer's affair was unfortunate, but hardly unique in today's society. Yet somehow, these common human problems escalated into premeditated murder, leaving 3 children orphaned and a community questioning everything they thought they knew about domestic violence and the people they trust. The case also raises disturbing questions about the role of Jennifer's secret lover in the events leading up to Matthew's death. While he ultimately became the key witness who ensured Jennifer's arrest, we may never know the full extent of their conversations or whether he had any awareness of Jennifer's growing desperation and potential for violence. If you thought this case was chilling, wait until you hear about our next story, a disappearance that baffled investigators for decades until a single photograph revealed the shocking truth about what really happened. Make sure to subscribe so you don't miss it, and let us know in the comments what you think about Jennifer's case. Do you believe her actions were the result of temporary insanity? Or do you think this was a calculated murder by someone who simply wanted to start a new life without the complications of divorce proceedings and custody battles?